Well, so we're getting down to the final 10 games of the 2018-19 NHL season here. We're almost there. We haven't officially clinched yet, but, for the next episode here, I just say we're going to have a little bit of a mixed bag here. So anyway, it's time for another episode of... Hi there, Spread Hornby here. Welcome to another episode of my Calgary Flames in 6. This is episode number 13 here. As I mentioned in the opening there, we're getting down to the final 10 games of the 2018-19 NHL regular season here. And, I definitely say it's, for the most part, it's definitely been a great season overall for the Flames here. I mean, it definitely, if you would have told me at this point of the season that we'd be, tops in the Pacific Division and the Western Conference here, I will damn well take it, considering where this team has been the last few years here. And, we're on the cusp. It's not official yet, but we're pretty much almost there of making the playoffs here. And, as I say, this has definitely been a great season here. So, how things happened in the past 6 games here, I mean, as I said, it's another mixed bag here, as it seems like we do so well at home here, and then on the road here, we seem to must forget to pack something, and I'll get to that. Plus, there was one game in particular that there was definitely some history that happened, or some things that you have to go back, in franchise history here, is when I was going through and making my notes here. But as I'll bring up my notes here, as if you recall from episode 12 here, the Calgary Flames did get up to winning 7 straight there, and then unfortunately lost the last 2 games of that recap segment before going into this segment here. And, another thing I can also say that happened here, as we look at games 67 to 72 here, is that there was a couple potential playoff previews here that could happen either right away or maybe down the road if this great run continues. So, if we go back to game 67 here, this happened on Wednesday, March the 6th. The Calgary Flames did have a quick 2-game road trip here in the desert here. This was, we're taking on the Vegas Golden Knights, so it was an 8:30 puck drop, and since the Vegas Golden Knights have joined the NHL here just last season, actually the Calgary Flames have not won in Sin City, also known as Las Vegas here, and you got to say this is definitely a potential first round preview here, because when I get to the standings part of the episode, I think Vegas is likely going to finish 3rd place in the Pacific Division here, and as Calgary did drop a few games here, the San Jose Sharks have won a few games, and we're likely going to be duking it out for top spot here. So, as I can say here, it was definitely a tight physical game here as the game overall here, but the offense for the Calgary Flames continues to dry up here, because even despite with the winning streak there, we won a lot of tight games here. How this game went was Shea Theodore for the Vegas Golden Knights opened the scoring in the first period there, and then it was Travis Hamonic for the Calgary Flames. He tied the game in the second period before former Flame Derek England, of all people, actually scored the go-ahead goal in the 3rd period and the eventual winner. So the Flames lost this one 2-1. So we have not still picked up our first win in Vegas. And that seems to have been the case so far with Vegas, is that, is this what they mean by the house always wins in casino terms? But that's definitely been the case between the Flames and Golden Knights here so far. As, it kind of stings a little that Derek England, of all people, scored the eventual game winner. It was only his 2nd goal of the season and first one in 36 games here. He wasn't brought, when he was at the Flames, he wasn't brought here as an offensive defenseman, but he was definitely a serviceable 5'6" guy, can provide some sandpaper and grit there and leadership, but I felt he was most effective if he played 12 to 15 minutes a game, but he's definitely played a lot better for the Golden Knights since he was plucked from the expansion draft there. So other storylines for this game was William Karlsson for the Golden Knights, who's definitely been a big offensive weapon for them. Was in on both goals and 2 assists there. And the Golden Knights actually did outshoot the Calgary Flames 38 to 34 here. It was David Rittich and Marc-Andre Fleury. David Rittich for Calgary and Marc-Andre Fleury for Vegas. Wasn't that in there, and I can say they both had great games here. Marc-Andre Fleury here on the side note won his 437th game in his career there, which puts him number 8th all-time wins list with Jacques Plante. So you might actually, if there's some debate here on if Marc-Andre Fleury is a Hall of Famer here, well, he's starting to climb up the all-time wins chart, and Jacques Plante's a pretty nice name to be up there with in the all-time wins list. So that was game 67. No luck in Vegas there. Enough with the Vegas puns there. But so game 68, Thursday, March the 7th, the next night, the Calgary Flames went to the Gale Arena to take on the Arizona Coyotes. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop. I'm going to dare say another potential first-round preview here, because believe it or not, the Arizona Coyotes have gone on a nice run here in the past month here, and actually when I get to the standing story, they're actually in a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Who saw that coming at the start of the season? Especially, they don't have any offensive weapons and lost, their top goalie Antti Raanta here. But another guy's definitely picked up the slack here for the Coyotes, and he definitely did his part here as the Calgary Flames did not actually score a goal on this game. This was the second game on back-to-back nights on this deadly road trip here. And the offense definitely hit a big drought here. As I say that there was no scoring here. How this game happened was Clayton Keller for the Coyotes scored midway through the first period here. And Jacob Chekrin scored early in the third period. It was the only offense that was produced in this game. And Mike Smith, who actually had a good game, and he has always started against the Coyotes because he actually played his best games against the Arizona Coyotes this season, and ironically they're still paying 25% of his salary too, which is a nice bonus for us. But Mike Smith was outdueled by Darcy Kemper, who he's been playing very well for the Coyotes, especially this past month, with Vezina-like nomination numbers, and which that's definitely been the big reason why the Arizona Coyotes have found themselves in the hunt for a playoff spot. Look for yourself on the standings there, but they don't have the offensive talent, but they've been winning on defense and great goaltending there. And also the note here, Mike Smith did also have to come up big in one moment here as Vinny Hinostroza, one of the players that they got in the big Marian Hossa trade where Chicago dumped his salary there, had a penalty shot, but Smith started that to keep it a 2-0 game here. Although the Flames did put in a decent effort here as we were shooting the Coyotes 30 to 26 here, but no moss for offense, as I say. And this was definitely after winning 7 straight here. This quick 2-game road trip for the Flames came out dry here with only 1 goal in 2 games, and also this was a streak that the Flames were on, that they haven't scored more than 3 goals in a game in 8 games here. So, and they brought the losing streak up to 4 games here after winning 7 straight here. So, I'm going to tell you this is the worst part of the recap episode here is, I'm going to say, once you find out here, the Calgary Flames play well at home, which is definitely one thing they've vowed to do this season compared to last season, but it seems like they have no problem scoring goals at home, but they seem to forget to pack that with them when they go on the road here, as you'll see when I look at the next 4 games here. So game 69, this happened on Sunday, March the 10th. We were taking on the Vegas Golden Knights again, but this time at the Scotiabank Saddledome, 7:30 p.m. puck drop, and this is seeking revenge from both the loss that happened the Wednesday before, and let's see if we found the offense here. And they definitely did find the offense here, back at home here, as Andrew Mangiapane opened the scoring, and Michael Backlund as well. So it gave Calgary a 2-0 lead midway through the first period there. And then Brandon Perry put Vegas on the board before Matthew Tkachuk did it for the Flames in the first period. So it was 3-1 Flames after the first period in this game. So it looks like we got our offense back here. But the Vegas Golden Knights, they fought back quickly here as we get in the second period here. Because Vegas got back right in it to tie it at 3. And they only got it up to the minute 30 mark of the second period there. So basically, as players got back on the ice and many fans were still getting back from their seats there, it was a 3-3 game here. As Riley Smith first scored for the Golden Knights, and then Mark Stone, the guy that they recently acquired from the Ottawa Senators and signed to that big 8-year contract extension, was paying dividends for the Vegas Golden Knights. So it was 3-3, just like that. And then it stayed that way until with 22 seconds left in the period that Michael Backlund scored his second of the game. So it was 4-3 for the Flames after 2 periods here. So, and the third period definitely has been the best period for the Flames all season. Actually, the Flames are the best third period team in the NHL this year. So hopefully this puts good news and history on the side for the Calgary Flames here, and it did. As in the third period, Matthew Tkachuk put it away there with 2 goals himself to give himself the hat trick there. And he did it at the 15 and 17 minute marks of the third period there. So it was a tight 4-3 game there until Matthew Tkachuk put it away late there. So the Flames won this game 6-3 there. So we definitely found some offense there. And actually this game, Bill Peters actually moved a few players around the lineup here, but eventually he went back to, having Lindholm, Monahan, and Gruder together. And then the big line that helped for the Flames in this game was the 3M line, the Backlund, Frolik, Tkachuk line. As I mentioned, Matthew Tkachuk led the way with 3 goals and assists for the hat trick there. Michael Backlund also had 2 goals and assists. And Michael Frolik had 4 assists overall in this whole game here, as the Calgary Flames outshot the Golden Knights 35-28 here. It was Dave Reddick who was in net for the Flames here, but for the Golden Knights, it was actually Malcolm Subban who came in to give relief for Marc-Andre Fleury, because Marc-Andre Fleury is actually the most played goalie in the NHL this season. But so it was Malcolm Subban that actually the Flames faced in this game. Who, Subban is PK's brother, the younger brother there. So this is the first time in 9 games that the Calgary Flames have amassed 3 or more goals. So, and this also ended Vegas' 7-game winning streak. So, or 6-game winning streak, because they were looking for their 7th game. So it was definitely a big divisional matchup, and maybe a potential playoff preview here. So that was game 69. Game 70 happened on Tuesday, March 12th, against the New Jersey Devils. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome, and this game got silly. I'll just summarize that right now. I mean, if you want offense, that was the game for offense, as the Flames did outplay the Devils for the most part in this whole game here, but there was a few moments and laps in defense there that the Flames had. The Devils actually, despite losing a few key players there, still came out to play up until the third period, as we get to. As this is how this game went, is that Johnny Gaudreau opened things up for, with the 5-minute mark of the first period. Things looking good, right? It was 1-0 Flames for most of the first period there, but then late in the first period there, suddenly the Devils capitalized by Blake Coleman and Kyle Palmieri, scored 2 goals late for the Devils there, so it was 2-1 for New Jersey after the first period there. So, the Flames were a better team there until late in the first period. The Devils struck twice there. Excuse me. Then as we get early into the third period here, within the first minute here, former Flame Kenny Agostino, if that name sounds familiar, That's because he was one of those pieces that were acquired in the Jerome McGinley trade. That's where he is now, after he's bounced around with the Blues and Habs and spent a lot of time in the AHL. Kenny Agostino has been playing with the Devils here, so he got a goal in the first minute of the third period there, so next thing you know it was 3-1 for the New Jersey Devils here, so you're thinking, this is not looking good now. But then the Flames, they got back in the swing of things here, and eventually they got rewarded with 2 goals midway through the second period here at the 7 and 10 minute mark. First, Sam Bennett scored to make it 3-2, and then Elias Lindholm tied things up, so it's 3-3 here. So you're thinking, things are looking good here. The Calgary Flames, if they can outplay the Devils, will eventually win this game here. But then late in the second period, Travis Zajac scored to make it 4-3 at the 17 minute mark of the second period there. So just like that, it's 4-3 New Jersey Devils. Excuse me. Going into the third period there. And then suddenly, this is where I say things got silly here, as offense definitely picked up, especially for the Calgary Flames here. As in the third period there, Derek Ryan, who's definitely been a nice pickup, he's been providing what we wanted, bottom 6 offense here. So he tied it up in the first minute of the third period there, or just before the first minute there, to make it a 4-4 game. And then Johnny Gaudreau was awarded a penalty shot there, and he got his second goal of the game on the penalty shot there, so it was 5-4. And then, a couple minutes later, Derek Ryan struck again at the 2:37 mark of the third period. So it was 6-4 Flames there. And then, the second half of the third period, got more Johnny Gaudreau. He got his hat-trick goal. And then Sean Monahan and Matthew Tkachuk scored in the final minute of the third period there. So if you do the math there, we're up to 9-4, and that was the final score. It was a 9-4 win here. So we had a big third period here to put away the New Jersey Devils and win 9-4 here. Here's some history here, a little bit of a history lesson here. The Flames scored 6 goals in the third period. This is the first time that the Flames done that since March 17th, 1995 against the original Winnipeg Jets. And when I say original Winnipeg Jets, it's now the Arizona Coyotes franchise. So that was the last time that the Flames scored 6 goals in a period there. And I think I was at that game, because I remember I was being at a game against the original Winnipeg Jets there. I think if I remember that game, we were down 4-1 after the first period there, and then wasn't too happy. And then next thing you know, after the second period, it was 7-4 Calgary there. So I think that was that game that I'm talking about, because it did happen in the lockout shortened season there. So I think I was actually at that game the last time the Calgary Flames scored 6 goals in a period there. So it's definitely a little bit of history lesson here. And the record if you're curious, there was a period that the Flames scored 7 goals in a period. That happened against the Los Angeles Kings, October 17th, 1988. So the year that they eventually won the Stanley Cup here. And another history lesson here, well, if you recall, back on December 4th, 2018 here, earlier this season, the Calgary Flames beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 9-6 that game. So that means this was the first time since the 2010-2011 Blues to have multiple 9-goal games in the same season. So Calgary has 2 9-goal games that they scored 9 goals. In fact, they actually had another game there early in the season against Pittsburgh Penguins that they allowed 9 goals, but this is talking about teams scoring 9 goals. And actually the Flames did that 3 times in the season, the 91-92 season, which oddly that was the year that they missed the playoffs. They did that 3 times. So a little bit of history lesson here. And then, as I say, Johnny Gaudreau, he definitely had a monster game this game with 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points there. I'm getting back to talking some more history here. This is the first Flame to score 6 points in a game since Al MacInnis, who did that on March 20th, 1994. And he's the 11th Calgary Flame to do so. So Johnny Gaudreau has also putting himself up there in good company here. Other players that contributed to this game was Sean Monahan, Elias Lindholm, each had a goal and 3 assists. Plus Derek Ryan, who Bill Peters nicknamed him Doc, and he's actually followed him a lot throughout his hockey journey here. He had 2 goals and assists in this game. And the Sam Bennett, the last Flame to have, or Sam Bennett had a goal and assist, and then Mark Giordano, the last Flame of the multi-point game, had 2 assists here. So, including getting his 50th assist of the season there. So there was definitely a lot of offense to come around here. Also, I should footnote here that Oscar Fantenberg, who we got in the trade at deadline, also picked up an assist in this game, so he got his first point as a Flame here. If you look on the New Jersey Devils side of the puck here, the only guy with a multi-point game for the Devils was Blake Coleman with a goal and assist there. I mean, he did score one of the goals there around the game. The Flames also outshot the New Jersey Devils 39-26 here. Dave Riddick was in for the Flames for the win. And then Mackenzie Blackwood, he was in net for the Devils, and he was in for all 9 goals. I definitely don't have faith in Mr. Schneider right now. But I think also the fact that I think maybe he was playing the next night there, I'm not sure. But yeah, this was definitely a wild game. Got silly there with the offense, but this took advantage of the opponent while they're down here, because the Devils lost 7 straight coming in after this game, and the Flames have now won 2 straight here, and definitely showed we do have some offense and got some history here. Made some new history here. So that was Game 70 in a big nutshell. So Game 71 here, if we go back to Friday, March the 15th, this was the last game of the 3-game homestand here. The Calgary Flames were taking on the New York Rangers, and that was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Saddledome here, and this was a complete game win. And also the fact that with San Jose close by here, I mean, temporarily this week, the San Jose Sharks actually was first in the Pacific and the Western Conference here, but this win, 5-1 win over the New York Rangers here, the Calgary Flames reclaimed that position for another couple more days here, as there was no scoring until halfway in the first period there, where Johnny Gaudreau continues his impressive play here, scores at the 10-minute mark exactly there, and then a minute later, Neil Ponick scored for the Rangers to make it 1-1 after the first period there, and that was as close as the New York Rangers here, as the Flames got 2 goals both in the second and third to make. That's where we got the 5 goals here. Second period happened quickly in the 3 and 4 minute mark. That's where we got the goals here, and then the third period happened at the 5 and just before the 10-minute mark here. Who led the way here for the Flames? Well, Matthew Tkachuk was in on actually all 5 goals here. Scored 2 himself, got 3 assists for a 5-point game, and that was his first 5-point game of his still fairly young NHL career there. Michael Frolik was the other Flame with a multi-point game, 1 goal and assist there. Garnet Hathaway was the other goal scorer there. So yeah, Gaudreau with 1, Chuck with 2, Frolik with 1, and Garnet Hathaway with 1. So that's where you got the 5 there. And the Flames definitely outshoot the Rangers 32-25 there to sweep this homestand. Get back in the first place. As Dave Riddick did play well for the Flames, and Henrik Lundqvist got the night off here, so he faced Alexander Georgiev for the Rangers there. So you didn't get to see how Lundqvist played net there. Note here, there's definitely been some illness going around with the Flames here. I mean, Mike Smith wasn't feeling well before the game, but he didn't start. And then actually Sean Monahan also wasn't feeling well. He left after the first period there, and it was said after this game that he wasn't going to Winnipeg the next night there, which leads into Game 72 here to wrap up this 6-game segment here. This happened on Saturday, March the 16th, as the Flames took on the said Winnipeg Jets at the Bell MTS Center. Excuse me, 5 p.m. puck drop on Hockey Night in Canada here. And as I mentioned, we were Sean Monahan-less, and as well Sam Bennett-less. And the Flames dressed 11 forwards and 7 defensemen here. And Alan Klein, who recently was called up from the Stockton Heat, came in the lineup. We had Curtis Lazar here for a couple of weeks, called up from Stockton, but he never played as an extra forward, so he got sent back down. But how do I say this game? I think we played well this game, but we just had no puck luck here, especially in the first 2 periods there. Connor Hellebuyck definitely was strong in the third period in this game. I mean, the Flames did outshoot the Jets 28-21 here, but we outshot them 14-3 in the third period alone there, so it wasn't for a lack of effort here. I mean, Johnny Gaudreau was definitely frustrated in this game because it looked like he had many scoring opportunities, but puck wasn't going in for him, and then Connor Hellebuck definitely had a great game for the Jets here. Mike Smith was feeling a little better. He did start for the Flames, but he had a great game, all things considered, but Winnipeg had their timely goals here. I mean, the Jets scored first in this game with literally 9 seconds left in the first period there on a rebound that Mark Scheifele buried to make it 1-0 for the Jets here. And then the other 2 goals here came on the same penalty here, because at first it looked like, you know, Flames could be in trouble here because Michael Backlund, he accidentally clipped Brian Little there, but he got a high sticking and he was bleeding there, so Michael Backlund actually took a double minor for him at a penalty there, but on the ensuing face-off, when the Jets were in the Flame zone there, we won the face-off and came down the ice there, and Mark Jankowski tipped one in for another short-handed goal there, set up by Elias Lindholm, so it was 1-1. But then still short-handed here, Matthew Perreault for the Winnipeg Jets scored to make it 2-1, and that pretty much was the eventual game winner here because it stayed 2-1 for the rest of the game here. I mean, it was a tight game for both sides here, and eventually Calgary did manage to play well with the Winnipeg Jets here, and if this happened to be maybe a potential playoff preview, I dream, Western Conference Championship, it would definitely be a long series here as we showed that we can play with them, but eventually, you know, 2-1 was the final score here for the Winnipeg Jets, ended the 3-game winning streak that the Flames had, but we definitely took advantage of the opponents here, but offense seems to dry up here on the road here because in this 6-game segment alone here, the 3 games on the road, the Flames have only scored 2 goals here, and as I said, we were without Sean Monahan and Sam Bennett. They were both sick there, and but the one guy who actually got back into the lineup was Michael Stone here, who has been out with blood clot with the Flames since November there. He actually returned to the lineup here and played his first game since middle of November after his reconditioning stint with the Stockton Heat there, and right now the Flames actually have 9 defensemen on the roster, which it's not necessarily a bad thing here, because as magical as that 2004 playoff run was for the Calgary Flames there, we were actually down defensemen and a whole line there, so it's definitely nice to be proactive and have nine defensemen. That's not counting Yusuf Valimaki, who has been playing in the Stockton Heat and for reconditioning there. And I mean, Oscar Vandenberg, I think he is a step up a little from Dalton Prout there. And then you got Oliver Shillington, who was in and out of the lineup, but he's still a young defenseman there. So I still think it's not a bad thing to have 9, maybe even 10 defensemen here, especially if you go on a nice long run here in the playoffs here. So, like I say, there was definitely a mixed bag there. We won the 3 games, we lost 3 games. We won 3 at the home, scored 20 goals, but then we lost 3 on the road and only scored 2. So, it'll be interesting to see where this team goes with the final 10 games to go in the regular season here. So when it comes to injuries here, the only Flame that is still injured is James Neal, still out with upper body injury. But word has it, he's begun practicing, and I'm going to say maybe we'll see him in the lineup here on the upcoming homestand. It'd be interesting to see where they can put him in the lineup here, but I mean, despite the fact that he definitely is underachieved considering he was a 20-goal scorer and all the money we gave to him, I still have a feeling he's going to be big for us in the playoffs because, he definitely has the playoff experience and he's definitely going to come in handy, I think, for us in the playoffs. And, I think we're going to be thankful we'll have James Neal. I have that feeling. So I'm keeping the faith on James Neal that maybe he won't score 20 goals for us in the regular season this year, but he'll score some big goals for us in the playoffs, maybe almost to the Martin Gelinas like. I'm just putting that out there right now. But as I mentioned, I also mentioned about Curtis Lazar. He was up with the team, but then he got sent back down, but he was an NHL All-Star there. And then going back to the farm here recently, forward Dylan Dubé actually was recently AHL Player of the Week there, so things are looking good in the farm with some of our top prospects. And now we mentioned about Yusuf Valimaki, he is back skating with the Stockton Heat on the reconditioning. I mean, not too sure if we'll see him. I think it all depends on if the Heat are in the playoffs or if not, and how far this team's in the playoffs here. So let's before I look ahead to the next 6 games here, let's take a look at like standings and player stats, and potentially set up the playoff tree here. So when it comes to goals here, I mean, you still got 3 guys who have over 30 goals, and maybe 4 will get through 30 goals. I mean, Goudreau has 34 goals. Tkachuk has 32. Amon has 31. That's the top 3 there. And then Elias Lindholm has 27 to put 4th. And then number 5th is Michael Back with 19. So let's say we might get at least 5 20-goal scorers. And then Mark Giordano and Michael Frolik are tied with 14 on the team there. So we have no problem scoring goals here, or at least at home. When it comes to assists here, I mean, Johnny Gaudreau has 57 to lead the way. Mark Giordano has 53 assists, and then Elias Lindholm has 50, and then Sean Monahan is 5 assists away from getting 50 at 45, and then Matt Tkachuk has 41. So we might have 5 guys to get 50 plus assists here for the team. So then when it comes to points overall, Johnny Gaudreau is leading the way at 91 points. I'm going to say he's definitely going to be well on his way of hitting 100 points here. And with that big 6-point game there, he got in the top 5 in scoring there. He's up there with guys like Kucherov, Kane, McDavid, and Sidney Crosby. So Johnny Gaudreau's saying hello, I'm back in the top 5 here. And then Elias Lindholm has 77 points. Sean Monahan has 76. And Matt Tkachuk has 73, and then Mark Giordano, he has 67 points here. So he's very likely also to hit the 70-point plateau. So you get 5 guys who get 70 points here. So that's pretty impressive here. And so yeah, let's take a look at the goaltending here. I mean, when you look at the goals against average, actually both guys are now down below 3 here. Dave Riddick is 265, and Mike Smith is 288. And then when it comes to save percentage here, Dave Riddick is 910, and then Mike Smith almost at 900. I mean, he had a horrible start. Keep in mind there, he's at 896. But I mean, when it comes to the other important stat here, Riddick is 27, 7, and 5 for the win-loss, and then Mike Smith, he is 19, 14, and 2. So. I mean, we're not too sure about goaltending here on who's going to be the starter, especially when we're likely going to host the first round and get home ice there. But both goalies should be fairly fresh going into the playoffs, considering they've been splitting the workload here. So anyway, let's take a look at the standings here. After 72 games, the Calgary Flames are 44, 21, and 7. That gives them 95 points. And that puts them number 1 in the Western Conference and the Pacific Division here. So, and then second place in the Pacific is the San Jose Sharks. They have 94 points. And then the Vegas Golden Knights are firmly in third with 83 points in 71 games. So that's the top 3 in the Pacific. The Central, Winnipeg Jets, after 71 games, they have 88 points. And then 73 games, the Nashville Predators have 87 points. And then the St. Louis Blues, after 71 games, have 81 points there. So that's the top 3 in the Central of the Western Conference there. So when it comes to the 2 wildcards here, excuse me, the Dallas Stars have wildcard spot number 1. They have 79 points in 71 games. And the Arizona Coyotes have the second wildcard spot. They have 78 points in 72 games. Teams that are outside looking in, Minnesota Wild, they have 76 points in 72 games. So the Coyotes have a 2-game lead, point lead I should say. Excuse me. And then the Chicago Blackhawks, I mean, it's unlikely right now, but they have 73 points in 71 games, but they're 5 points behind the Coyotes with a game in hand, but it's getting tougher to get points at this time of year. And then let's say Colorado, 72 points in 71 games here. I think I'm stretching it from there. So if you were to set up the playoffs right now, the Calgary Flames would host the Arizona Coyotes. Who would have thought that at the start of the year? And then the San Jose Sharks would host the Vegas Golden Knights. And then for the central part of the bracket, Winnipeg Jets would host the Dallas Stars, and the National Predators will host the St. Louis Blues. So when it comes to the Eastern Conference, well, nobody's going to catch Tampa Bay here, as they're first in the Atlantic here. 114 points in 72 games with 55 wins. Wow. Who's going to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, or are they going to win the Cup this year? Well, we'll see. And then second place, you have the Boston Bruins at 95 points in 72 games, and then the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have 91 points in 72 games. That's the top three in the Atlantic. Metropolitan here, you got the Washington Capitals, first place, 91 points in 72 games. So the defending champs are definitely rising like they did last year at this time here. And then second place, you got the New York Islanders, 71 games, have 89 points. Third place, you got the Pittsburgh Penguins, 87 points in 72 games. So that's the top three in the Metropolitan. And then when you look at the wild card here, 71 games, 85 points for the Carolina Hurricanes. And then the second wild card is occupied by the Columbus Blue Jackets. They have 84 points in 72 games. Outside looking in, well, the Montreal Canadiens have 81 points in 72 games, so they're 3 points behind Columbus here. Then I think it's stretching it from here, where we're looking at both Philadelphia and Florida. They have 76 points in 71 games here, which is 8 points. I think if you're below Montreal, you're likely out here. So to set up the bracket for the Eastern Conference here, you got the Tampa Bay Lightning will host the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then once again you'll have the Boston Bruins hosting the Toronto Maple Leafs. That'll be the Atlantic side of the bracket. And then the Metropolitan side of the bracket, you'll have the Washington Capitals hosting those bunch of jerks, the Carolina Hurricanes, with their post-game win celebrations. But they do that at home after their team is gone. So, but they're definitely been going on with that trend there. And then the New York Islanders would be hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins here. So we definitely have some interesting matchups here. But that's how would the playoff bracket will look as of me standing here recapping here. So before we consider this close here, let's take a look at the next 6 games here that will encompass episode 14 here. So game 73 will be Thursday, March the 19th. We'll be back home here at the Scotiabank Saddledome to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets here. And then on game 74, Thursday, March 21st, back at the Scotiabank Saddledome, we'll be taking on the Ottawa Senators. So we've got one team that's fighting for their playoff lives versus another team that's totally out of it, and that's been a tire fire all year. And then game 75, Saturday, March the 23rd, we go on the road here to take on the Vancouver Canucks at the Rogers Arena, 8 p.m. puck drop on Hockey Night in Canada here. Vancouver is out of it, but Vancouver's had our number this year, so you'll definitely see a rivalry game there. And then on game 76, this will be Monday, March the 25th. Back home at the Scotiabank Saddledome, we'll be taking on the Los Angeles Kings, another team that's out of it that we better take advantage of that. And then on Wednesday, March the 27th, we might say this could be a potential playoff preview if we win the division, and maybe depending on how the wildcard situation works. We'll be taking on the Dallas Stars back at the Scotiabank Saddledome. 7:30 puck drop, and then game 78 to wrap up what will be the next episode on Friday, March 29th. At Scotiabank Saddledome here, we'll be taking on one of our nemesis, but they're Now in the playoffs, the Anaheim Ducks here. So actually, the next episode will be my last 6-game edition of my recap segment, because I'll get you up to game 78 here, and there's 82 games in the regular season here. So I'll do a 4-game segment after that to get up to 82. And if you follow along with my Calgary Hitmen recap segments, what I'm going to do for playoffs, as the Flames are actually 1 point away from clinching a playoff spot. They could have potentially clinched last night if we had won or if Minnesota Wild lost, but that didn't happen. But it's just a matter of when and make it official here, because we have 10 games left, and we're likely either going to get that 1 point or Minnesota's going to lose that point and officially put us in the playoffs here. But we'll celebrate that in the next episode here. But getting back to what I said I'll do for playoffs for if you follow along with the Hitmen series, is the Hitmen are about to get in their playoffs next week, is I'll do a series preview after the regular season's over. So whoever we draw, whatever the schedule is, I'll preview that series, and then I'll recap that series after the series is over, and hopefully continue that on until hoisting the Stanley Cup. I can dream, and we'll somehow find a way to beat the Lightning this time, but that's still getting too far ahead of myself here. But I mean, as I say, thank you for following along with the Flames journey here and all my recap series. But of course, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow along here. I have it all in the playlist here, so you can, if you want, you can follow along the whole journey from the preseason, starting in China, up to this point here. And I mean, it's definitely been a fun ride on, much of the season here. We've been #1 in the Pacific Division, Western Conference here, and been flirting in the top 5 of the league overall here. And if you had told me that at the start of the year, I'd laugh and then say, damn it, I'll take it. But that's the reality right now. And it was episode 7 that I posed that question: is this team, serious Stanley Cup contenders here? And we were flirting up there with teams that had that label coming into this season, but no one thought the Calgary Flames would do what they've done up to this point here. But I'm going to say thank you for following along here, and I'll see you in the next video here.